Our Names Were Back, Part 2. This entire videos that we're going to make for the whole world to see is about Phyllis Leinwand and her freemasonic gangstalking cult in Richmond Hill, Queens, New York. She is the cult leader of this cult. This is part 2 of our cry for help. And before we begin part 2, my husband and I, Joseph Tropeano, want to thank the public, the world.
Yes, we want to thank you for uploading our videos. We needed exposure, and
we need help.
And we appreciate what you did.
You're
Thank you
exposing
very
it.
much.
You put in our texts, and you're doing a beautiful job. Okay? And we're praying that people come forward and help us, because we don't want to die. It's, by the time you hear all our videos, we may have to put 15 videos on, because this has been going on for 8 excruciating nightmare years to date. And this has destroyed my parents, my daughter. We were close-knit family, and now they are clones of the lethal corruption. My mother died from being brutally brainwashed. My father is going to follow my mother's footsteps if we don't get help for him. But I don't want to go into detail now. What we want to do is, when we were with the group, we had a 10-page document, a cry for help. And Joseph Tropeano read it at that time. So we're going to start with the 10-page document. It'll probably be like about 4 to 5 parts of this. And then there's so much more we have to tell you. Okay? Because the world has to know this surreal, horrific nightmare situation we are in. We're living under a Nazi regime. The only thing we don't have are the gas chambers, but we have other things instead. And please help us. Okay, please. We need your help.
Okay, this is Joseph. We're now going to start reading our cry for help.
You have to, Joe, you have to talk very loud.
Yes.
Because you want them to understand everything. Well, tonight the noise is much better.
It's much better. Definitely much better. We are victims and trapped in full-blown lethal corruption for 8 excruciating nightmare years to date. In February 2004, this deadly corruption erupted in the state of New York, where we reside. This inhumane infliction has destroyed every aspect of our lives, and that of our dear family members as well. From February 2004 to on or about August 2005, we hire attorneys. These attorneys never helped us. Instead, they took large sums of legal fees while they abandoned our case. To make matters more horrific, many of these corrupt, conspiring attorneys placed huge liens on us, although they were working on a contingency or were pro bono.
Joe, just let me stop for a minute. I just want to tell the public and the world. We have loads of documents and evidence and audio tapes to prove everything we are saying.
Every single word we are saying.
We just need the world to help us out of this Nazi regime.
We have volumes and volumes of evidence to back every paragraph and statement that I'm reading to you. Let me continue. The attorney's conspiring mission was to aid and abet this lethal corruption, to filtrate into every conceivable avenue of our lives. The judicial system as well aided and abetted the surreal unlawfulness to continue. Every court in New York we frequented for relief, closed the doors of justice on us. Our due process rights are outrageously blocked till this present time. The conspiring judges at these courts abandoned our complaint as well. They recklessly and intentionally did not allow our complaint to be heard.
In other words, we wrote a lawsuit, and there's about 8 lawsuits we did. However, we never had our lawsuit heard in court. It's outrageous.
It's lunatic.
It's surreal and it's horrific, and that's why we're in this lethal corruption, because this cult bribes judges, doctors, lawyers, every service we have. Okay, this cult is a very wealthy cult. Very wealthy. And they use their money as their weapon to bribe. Okay, Joe, go on.
Furthermore, this conspiring, vile attorneys we retained with their office staff usurped their powers by uniting together, forming a malicious campaign to destroy us. Each one of them wrote extremely defaming, unlawful, frightening affidavits filled with slanderous psychological terminology regarding my wife. These alarming affidavits were written after my wife and I exposed their conspiring illicit activities committed.
And we have these affidavits.
Yes.
To show the public what they said about me, that I'm besieged by devils, I'm beyond psychotic, and what they're really talking about, okay, which we didn't realize at the time, I mean, it was frightening what they were saying, they're talking about themselves, because this cult is besieged by devils. They love psychotic episodes and things like that.
Everything was reversed.
Everything was reversed. The principal, Phyllis Leinwand, is a psychotic one. And as we expose our whole story, you will see this in full circle.
Anyway, additionally, the police abandoned their duties. To abolish this lethal corruption we are entrapped in till this present time, the police as well defame, mock, abuse, humiliate us to the extreme, making us appear as the mentally deranged criminals just to smokescreen all their murderous, conspiring illicit activities, including bribes and kickbacks, which they accepted from these criminal enterprises. On top of all this, when we try to expose to the police all the murderous ongoing illicit activities committed to us, then we are informed by the corrupt police officers and other corrupt parties that my wife and I are under surveillance.
You see, everything is the opposite. And it's so lunatic. And when you live this for 8.5 years, and you're not living in a democratic society, and everything is topsy-turvy, Alice in Wonderland, lunatic situations, okay, it's all meant to cause a catastrophic illness. Because how much can a human being take? How much? Everybody around us is living a democratic life, but we can't.
No.
We listen to the radio and the television. I always say, Joe, we can't do this. We can't do that. Okay? If we once in a while go to a restaurant and you overhear someone's conversation, they're talking about their pensions and going on vacation and working. I have a high-paying pension. The cult with Phyllis Leinwand took control of my pension. Okay? And we're going to go destitute. As you see, this is we call it our small bedroom in our home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? This is when we had money and we decorated our home. And, you really can't see it, but it looks like a little castle. Okay? And we can't enjoy one moment of our home. Not one moment. Okay? This Phyllis Leinwand with her cult need to go behind bars. Okay? We need to save our lives. We want to live. We don't want to die. And if we stay like this, we will definitely die, especially me. I have diabetes. Okay? Can't go to doctors. I'm on the end of my insulin. I can't get my test strips. And like I said in my last video, I'm sitting here so calmly because so everything has happened to me. Okay? And you know, we're praying to God that these videos will get us out of this. All right, Joe, go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, as time went on, this lethal corruption became more brutal and dangerous. It was in the year 2010 till this present time we are living in a brutal, murderous police state. We were assaulted and attacked by the police several times, arrested, given citations, handcuffed, placed in ankle shackles, thrown in dirty jails for absolutely no reason whatsoever. We almost lost our lives several times due to the scheming, conspiring iniquities of the police, who aid and abet this lethal corruption to continue until we die. As a result of the conspiring police and the legal and judicial system, as well as every governmental agency, entity, and individuals abandoning their duties to immediately abolish this murderous corruption we are entrapped in, we are left hopeless and devastated, being alarmingly stranded for 8 years, barely surviving in a world without laws to protect us. This devastating existence we are left to survive in is equated to barbaric times, when survival of the fittest reigned, and the most powerful survive, and the weaker one is destined to die. Bribes and kickbacks are accepted by all governmental entities, agencies, organizations, etc., etc. And in return, our lives
All right, the
and our
noise
dear
is coming
family members'
louder.
lives must be sacrificed. Just recently, my wife's dear mother died as a result of her being barbarously brainwashed. This unlawful brainwashing destroyed her physical health, and thus she suffered a brutal, tragic death. My wife's dear father, as well, is barbarously brainwashed. And if we do not seek help from my wife's father, he will tragically follow the same devastating footsteps of my wife's mother. We are crying for help. We need support to save my wife's father from dying. This is supposed to be modern America, not some third world country where these demonic practices are prevalent. People of the world, citizen of the world, I'm calling out to you. This is an American atrocity. We are the first United States citizen to have been blacklisted. Being blacklisted is like being dead. It is like we do not exist anymore. We do not have any rights or laws to protect us. As I'm reading this, I'm rehashing the events that have occurred for these 8 years. And it's painstaking, and it's re-traumatizing us over and over, my wife and I. But like the goal of the corruption is to destroy us, our goal is to survive and to have our life back. And we are not going to relent until we have a life restored back to us and all our rights restored back to us.
And every waking hour, every sleeping hour of my life is rehashing this horrific Nazi regime we are entrapped in. And like my husband said, we are fighting. We are fighting. That's why we're on these videos, and we're going to make so many videos for the whole world to recognize what we are entrapped in so we can have our lives back.